So Pam, you've had a storied career, starting as a lawyer, attorney general, international business leader, and you've served on for-profit, nonprofit boards for a long, long time. Can you just share that journey with our viewers here? Tell us a little bit about, what your first board was, who helped you along the way, and share any tidbits of advice that would be helpful.
Sure. I was raised as Roman Catholic. I went to Catholic schools all my life. And so the part of the theme in the mission was men and women for others and women of worth. I went to an all-girls Catholic high school. And so there was always a philosophy of giving back to the community. And so we had, programs and boards, and associations that I associated with from middle school and high school. My parents were very active civic leaders as well. So it was, both in the school, in our religion, and in our home. And that never stopped. And when I was a social worker, I got my master's in social work. And so I was also doing a lot of community mental health work, and I was a community organizer, married and had children. And I think it's important because as women, we often have families, and how do you kind of navigate career and giving back in a way that is reasonable and proper for a young family, and as they grow, how much more you can get involved. And long story short, I've been involved in, all kinds of not-for-profit boards, Urban League, mental health boards, Red Cross, Teach for America, and then a number of for-profit boards. My first for-profit board was a family-owned closed corporation, the Myers family. They own a series of big box stores and small grocery stores in the Midwest, and they still thrive, and they taught me so much. And the second board that I was on that was similar, it was an industrial pipeline company, Spectra Energy, which was acquired by Enbridge. I was on that board, and I learned a lot about, closed for-profit board service as well as public company board service. And I've been on CSX's board and a number of others, the ones I've already identified: Hewlett Packard Enterprise, Enbridge, where I chair, and Broadridge Financial Solutions, which is another technology board. And I've loved all of it. And I would say that being a wife, mother, and civic engaged person, as well as being on these boards, I remain engaged in corporate social responsibility. And I'm excited, for example, in Enbridge and the board that I chair, we are very engaged with the Indigenous communities, both in Canada and in the United States. And we have a great deal of partnerships where we're actually business partners, as well as other ways in which we are partnering with Indigenous communities. And in fact, we're getting ready to have another big tribal and leaders advisory council. So those are all very meaningful to me. And, as I go into the winter of my years, I feel very good about the fact that, the corporate boards that I serve on really have fine board members on them who care, who are committed to excellence, who are on this journey of learning. And I love the Standard Women on Boards roadmaps and competencies that they've been able to share with us as tools, which we've used. And I really appreciate it.
We often say that nonprofits are both a stepping stone and an endpoint in and of themselves. What's the first nonprofit board that you served on?
The first nonprofit board I served on was the Head Start. It had just started, and I remember going down in the basement of this little church with these little preschoolers, and made a big difference. And I was in high school.
That was in high school. So
Yeah.
you learned governance early on. And
Yeah.
then how did you get on your first corporate board? Who opened that door? Was it a natural stepping point?
Yes, it was a search firm that identified me and contacted me. So I would say the one thing about me, and I'm much older with fewer women, there were, hardly no people of color when I was first starting, is I've been on board since the 90s. So quite a while. I was identified, interviewed, and got on the board. And then from that point, with mostly word of mouth, I personally have never been one that sought board service. but had the opportunities, and I really appreciate that, you know.
Yeah.
But I also saw that there were many boards that I turned down because values and ethics are very important to me. And I have to know that I can make a difference as a member of the board, for the enterprise, and for the community.
I've always thought you're so talented. And, you know, after serving with you on CSX, I found out that you were chair and now chair emeritus of the Nashville Symphony. So did you grow up as a musician as well, Pam? And then is it your
I did. I was an organist actually at our little Catholic parish from the time I was 8 years old on. And then I majored in music my first year in college, and then decided I needed to go into social work and law, which I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's an outstanding journey. Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you. No, thank you.